Hello viewers, today we are going to study about tissue repair. Tissue repair is also called as healing. It is a process of restoration of the tissue architecture and function after injury. So, tissue repair refers to restoration of tissue architecture and function after injury. Healing and the term tissue repair, they are used interchangeably, but conventionally healing was used for surface epithelia and repair for connective tissue and parenchymal tissues. Now, how healing starts? So we know that inflammatory response, it functions not only to eliminate the offending agent, but it also sets into motion the process of healing. And healing can occur by two processes: regeneration and scar formation. Regeneration or scar formation, or also called as connective tissue deposition. Connective tissue deposition. So what is happening in regeneration? So in regeneration there is restoration of normal cells. The damaged components are replaced by normal cells. And how regeneration can occur? It can occur by two processes or two mechanisms. Proliferation of, first is proliferation of differentiated parenchymal cells that have the capacity to proliferate. For example, hepatocytes have remarkable capacity to proliferate. So regeneration occurs. And second is, in some tissues like the surface epithelia and epithelium lining the intestinal tract, there are stem cells or progenitors. Stem cells that lead to development of mature cells. So regeneration can occur either by proliferation of the differentiated cells or through stem cells which develop into mature cells. Now coming on to the other process of healing, which is scar formation or deposition of connective tissue. Now when there is the process of regeneration or scar formation, it depends on the type of injury. If the injury is extensive, then what will happen? Healing will occur by scar formation. And also it depends upon the type of the tissue, whether the tissue has proliferative capacity, whether there is presence of stem cells or the progenitor cells. But if there is extensive damage to the supporting structures, and tissue is not able to, or tissue is incapable of regeneration, then what will happen? Healing will occur by scarring. Healing will occur by scarring or deposition of connective tissue. Now the term fibrosis, we use the term fibrosis to denote the deposition of collagen. Deposition of collagen in various organs like liver, lung, kidney, as a consequence of chronic inflammation. As a consequence of chronic inflammation. And also when there is extensive ischemic necrosis in myocardium, healing will occur by fibrosis. Healing will occur by fibrosis. Now in various types of injuries, both regeneration and scar formation contribute to in varying proportions towards healing. And in healing there is proliferation of, in regeneration as well as in scar formation, there is proliferation of cells. So in regeneration we know there is proliferation of the parenchymal cells, the residual cells which escape the injury or which are not injured, they proliferate, or the development of mature cell occurs through stem cells. There is also proliferation of vascular endothelial cells. And there is proliferation of fibroblasts. So how this proliferation is going on? So certain factors, growth factors, they are required for proliferation, and there are various signaling pathways that mediate this process of tissue repair. And depending on the presence of the stem cells or the progenitor cells and the intrinsic proliferative capacity of the cells, the tissues in the body, they are divided into three types. What are these? These are labile cells or labile tissues, stable tissues, and permanent tissues. So first is labile tissues or continuously dividing tissues. So these cells of these tissues are being continuously lost and replaced by maturation from stem cells or by proliferation of mature cells or by proliferation of mature cells. So they are continuously in cell cycle. Examples are, so whenever there is injury to these tissues, so they will readily regenerate. So healing will occur by regeneration. Examples are hematopoietic cells in bone marrow and majority of surface epithelia. The stratified squamous epithelium It is lining the oral cavity, cervix, vagina, skin, the columnar epithelium. It is lining the GIT, uterus, fallopian tubes, the cuboidal epithelium that lines the ducts draining the exocrine organs like salivary glands, pancreas, and the transitional epithelium lining the urinary tract. So all these are examples of labile tissue. Second is, so here healing will occur by regeneration. Second is the stable tissues. Stable tissue. So cells of these tissue are quiescent. They are in G0 phase of cell cycle. So what are the phases of cell cycle? G0, G1, S, G2, M phase, so these are the phases of cell cycle. They are in the G0 phase of the cell cycle. So they have very limited or minimal proliferative activity in normal state. But if there is injury or there is loss of tissue mass, then they can enter the cell cycle from G0 to G1. So they enter the cell cycle and they divide or they proliferate. So what are the examples of these types of tissues? So the majority of the parenchymal cells in the solid organs like kidney, liver, pancreas, so they are all stable tissues. The fibroblasts, endothelial cells, the smooth muscles, they are also stable tissues. And these, they play important role in wound healing. And when injury occur, they gain some amount of proliferative capacity, except for liver. Liver is an exception. It has remarkable regenerative capacity. Third is permanent tissue. So the cells in these tissues, they are terminally differentiated. And are non-proliferative in postnatal life. They are non-proliferative. Examples are neurons, cardiac myocytes, skeletal muscle. So whenever there is injury to brain, heart, so healing occurs by fibrosis. Healing will occur by fibrosis. So now let's see how liver regenerate. We know that hepatocytes have remarkable capacity to regenerate and liver can grow after partial hepatectomy. So two mechanisms play important role in regeneration. These are proliferation of remaining hepatocytes, and second is repopulation from progenitor cells. Progenitor cells. These are present in canals of herring. And which mechanism will be dominant depends upon the type or the nature of injury. In case of partial hepatectomy, the regeneration occurs by proliferation of remaining hepatocytes. And in case there is chronic liver injury and the proliferative capacity gets impaired, then regeneration will occur by repopulation from the progenitor cells. Now let's see what are the steps in regeneration by proliferation of the remaining hepatocytes. So these steps are, first is the priming phase. And in regeneration, various cytokines and polypeptide growth factors play important role in proliferation. So in first phase, priming phase, the cytokine interleukin 6 produced by the Kupffer cells, it acts on the hepatocytes. It acts on hepatocytes and prime them in order to receive and respond to the growth signals. In second phase or the growth phase, various growth factors act on the primed hepatocytes. What are these growth factors? These are hepatocyte growth factor, TGF, alpha. And what is the source of these growth factors? So important source of growth factor is activated macrophages. Also, growth factors are produced by stromal cells, epithelial cells, and we know that hepatocytes are quiescent cells. They are quiescent cells. It means they are in G0 stage of cell cycle. And for cell proliferation to occur, they have to enter the cell cycle. They have to enter G1 phase. So these growth factors, they act on the hepatocytes and they stimulate various signaling pathways. Various signaling pathways, or they activate various signaling pathways, and this leads to DNA replication, and various genes get activated. Various genes are activated. Genes encoding transcription factors, cell cycle regulators, regulators of energy metabolism. So the cell enters in G1 phase and the cell then divides. After hepatocytes, the other non-parenchymal cells like the endothelial cells, Kupffer cells, they proliferate. Third phase is termination phase. Termination phase. And in this phase, transforming growth factor beta, which is anti-proliferative cytokine, this acts and the cell again comes back into quiescent stage. Now, for regeneration to occur, the residual tissue must be architecturally or structurally intact. Now, if there is extensive liver damage, what will happen? Will the repair occur by regeneration? Let's take example of liver abscess. So there is collapse of, in liver abscess, there is collapse of the reticulin framework. In this case, regeneration by proliferation cannot occur, or repair by regeneration cannot occur. Here, healing or repair will occur by scarring. It will occur by scarring. Now let us see the steps in scar formation. Steps in scar formation. If repair cannot occur by regeneration alone, then it occurs by replacement of the damaged cells by connective tissue deposition, which is called as scar formation. So when there is tissue injury, so there will be oozing of blood, and within minutes there is formation of hemostatic plug formation by the platelets, and this provides a framework for the, or scaffold for the deposition of fibrin. Then subsequent steps in scar formation occur. So first is inflammation. So in this, at the site of injury, various mediators of inflammation are released. Mediators of inflammation are released, and these recruit neutrophils and monocytes over the next 8 to 48 hours. Over the next 8 to 48 hours. And these inflammatory cells, then they clear the offending agents. For example, the microbes that may have entered through the wound, and they clear the necrotic cells and debris. So after that, inflammation resolves. It resolves, and there is a clean wound. Second step is proliferation of cells. Proliferation of cells. So it takes place over the next 10 days. So which cells? Epithelial cells, endothelial cells, and other vascular cells, pericytes, and fibroblasts. So they proliferate under the influence of various growth factors, and they perform different functions. The epithelial cells, they proliferate and migrate to cover up the wound. They cover up the wound. Endothelial cells, they produce the proliferation of endothelial cells, or the process is angiogenesis. It leads to formation of new blood vessels, which is required for wound healing. And the fibroblasts, they lay down collagen. Which leads to scar formation. The third step is formation of granulation tissue. So we know what is granulation tissue. Granulation tissue is hallmark of healing. It indicates healing process. It is hallmark of healing. And it is characterized by proliferation of fibroblasts, thin-walled delicate capillaries or blood vessels, or angiogenesis. This is angiogenesis. In a loose extracellular matrix, along with there is admixed infiltrate, which is mononuclear, and it comprises predominantly macrophages. So this granulation tissue has a soft pink granular gross appearance, as seen beneath the scab of a skin wound. So it is vascular. Then fourth step is deposition of collagen or replacement by connective tissue deposition or scar formation. So this vascularized granulation tissue is gradually replaced by or progressively replaced by avascular fibrous scar. And in this process, in the process of healing, the macrophages, they play important role. Macrophages. How? Because the macrophages, they clear the debris, they clear the offending agents, the microbes. They provide growth factors for the proliferation of cells. They secrete cytokines which help or which stimulate the fibroblast proliferation and the laying down of collagen. And these macrophages which play important role in healing, they are M2 type, or they are alternatively activated macrophages. So these alternatively activated macrophages, they terminate the process of inflammation and they induce healing. So this was all about the overview of tissue repair. I hope you liked the video. For more such videos, please subscribe my YouTube channel and do not forget to like and share my videos. Thanks for watching.